Hello, my name is Sarah Tyler and I'm a clinical social worker. On behalf of the McLean Safe Community Coalition Managing Moments series, I am here to talk about holiday stress. So 2020 has been a heck of a year. It's been a marathon that none of us signed up to run, and unfortunately we're stuck in this marathon and we're going to have to continue running right into 2021. And with that being said, we come to the holiday season, which can bring a lot of sadness and stress for many people if they have lost a loved one or financial angst. They're trying to manage kids in virtual school. Maybe they can't be with loved ones this year because of COVID and requirements about keeping socially distanced. There's a lot of added stress and pressure, and life is overwhelming to say the least. Many people find that the holidays bring stress as much or more than joy. So today I'm going to discuss strategies to manage holiday stress. So I hope that you can tune in and maybe find some hints here or some tips here that will help you get through the next couple of months. I'm going to start with asking everyone to pause and to sit down and to check in with themselves. And what I mean by this is get a cup of hot tea or coffee or hot chocolate, whatever it is for you. Wrap your hands around that mug, notice how warm it is, and just be present with yourself. And ask yourself some questions. And I know you've got kids, you might be caretaking an elderly parent, you've got a lot going on. Find a corner, find 20 minutes, put on a video for the kids, and just try to escape. And have your hot drink with your hands wrapped around it and think about, how am I? Am I sleeping? Am I eating? Am I able to work? Am I doing what I need to do for work? Am I taking care of my kids, or am I kind of checked out? Am I needing to go to the doctor and I've put that off for 6 months and I'm worried about that? I think we all need to ask ourselves questions like this and just get the pulse of how we are. And as we go into the holiday season, I think this is even more important because it helps us really think about what we need as an individual. Because if you, just like on the plane, you have to put your mask on before you help your child and put the child's mask on. I think as the holidays come, this is a great time to really pause and check in with yourself. From there, I think we need to be really aware of what's going on around us. And we need to try to dial down the "I'm not good enough" messages. And in my mind, during the holiday seasons, we get a lot of these messages. And even well before Thanksgiving, at the end of November, we are getting middle of November, we are hearing people say, I'm fully decorated. I already have my menus planned. Or we see people putting up lights outside. And we hear people saying, what are you doing? What are you doing for the holiday? Who's coming? Where are you going? Are you traveling? And I think this puts an exorbitant amount of pressure in our minds and makes us feel like we're not ready, we're not prepared, we're behind, and we're not good enough. So if we can be aware and recognize these messages coming in and dial them down, then and say, I'm fine, I'm going to figure this out. I don't need to put up lights this year. I don't need to send cards this year. We need to be aware of what other people are saying, and just like the TV, with COVID, we need to turn off the TV and not get sucked in because it promotes catastrophic thinking. I think some of the messages we get from people around us and the television on the holidays also does similar. Another tool or strategy is to name your feeling. If you've lost a loved one to COVID, if you have a mom or dad that's sick, if you are worried about your work and your business, I think it's important to sit and name what's going on. There is a lot to grieve and a lot to be sad about right now. And there is every holiday season, but this year it's compounded with COVID and how we've all been living, and we're all fatigued with living this way, but yet we have to accept more regulations to be safe. So I'm sad, I'm anxious, I'm worried about paying the bills. Whatever it is, I think when we name it and we acknowledge it, it is a strategy to kind of lower the anxiety and the stress. It's also okay to cry. It's okay. That's a normal thing to do when you're sad. It's okay to talk to your kids and tell them why you're sad. You can keep it simple. They don't need to know the details. But you can say, work is stressful, or I'm thinking about grandma and I really miss her, or I'm worried about grandma because she lives 3 states away and we can't be with her this Christmas. Another suggestion I have is to honor your loved ones. Find a space in your home, maybe it's the mantle, light a candle, get some flowers, get a picture of your loved ones that you're thinking about this holiday season, and have a little area to remember them. Have your kids color a picture for maybe grandpa that you lost a couple years ago. And it can just be a little area that is with you during the holidays. And I think being deliberate about honoring and remembering people that are important to us feels good, and it models and demonstrates to younger people around us that this is a way to be open about what we've lost and what we're grieving and what we're sad about this time of year. I think that you can still be joyful, but we need to make that space to be sad and to honor those that we're worried about or thinking about or have lost. Prioritize. This is a big one. Think about what is most important to you, not what is most important to your neighbors, maybe not even what is most important to your friends or what is on the morning show, on the news this morning. Think about what is going to make a difference for you this holiday season. Maybe it's getting out a puzzle and trying to devote 15 minutes a day to that puzzle. Maybe it's playing that game with your kid that you always feel guilty about because you never get to. If gifts are important, keep them simple. Could you bake this year, or could you keep them homemade, or could you order blankets for everyone? Blankets in a mug, make it simple. I think less is more sometimes, and even with our children, we can demonstrate that there are bigger things going on, and we can celebrate Christmas, but it doesn't have to be, 50 gifts for everybody. So think about if meals are important, make your grocery lists and have that be kind of one thing you do, and let go of some other things. So again, prioritize what is most important to you so that this Christmas or this holiday season you will be able to meet a few of your goals. Reach out and connect. It's hard with COVID not being able to be with each other and our families and our friends, but I think that we need to think about who we can laugh with, who we can share memories about previous holidays, who will distract us, who we can laugh about the kids and how they're driving us nutty. Make a point to set up a Zoom call with someone that you care about or someone you connect with. If you don't feel that you have someone that you can do that with on the phone or Zoom, or a neighbor that you can sit outside and bundle up with a scarf and jacket and chat with, then perhaps you can look for online support groups. A lot of religious organizations have ways that they're connecting with people in online services and gatherings that can lift people's spirits and let them feel connected. So there are different ways to do it, but again, we have to be purposeful about figuring out what that way is going to be, and then really putting it on the calendar and designating some time to connect with others. Manage expectations. We love our family, but our family also causes us much stress. And sometimes we think that we're going to show up on that Zoom call and maybe our aunt or our sister is going to act different this year. The chances of that are slim. So I think we need to show up for our Zoom call or our calls with families and friends and know that people are going to show up in the same way they've always showed up. So if we're ready for that, then maybe we can not let us get so worked up, and we can stay in a responsive mode instead of a reactive mode. Maybe we can just not respond when people are talking about politics. So again, we try to dial that down, because we know if we get into politics or emotionally charged subjects, that's not going to be good for anybody. So give that some thought before you get on the Zoom call, and really try to remain composed and in a responsive mode and encourage others. And it's also okay to say, I'm just not comfortable talking about that right now. I'm just too overwhelmed to think about that. And hold your limits, and you can get off the call. You don't have to stay on it if you feel it's going in the wrong direction. Do something kind. There is research that we know tells us that when we are kind and do for others, it lowers our stress. It's good for our bodies and our minds. So pack the kids in the car and pick out 10 cans with them at the grocery store and take them to a food bank. Or think about people on your street. Sometimes there's people that we can help that are very close to us, that might be by themselves, and just a plate of food. We don't have to make a whole meal. Bring over a plate, or a few cookies in a bag, and just drop them at their door and kind of have a contactless encounter or stand in a difference and just say, I'm thinking about you. It can make a difference to someone else, but it can also make you feel a sense of self-worth, like you've done something for someone else. And again, you're modeling for kids and people in your life that that's a healthy thing to do this time of year. Learn to say no. We all often feel pressure to do what other people want us to do. And with COVID, we all have to find what's right for us, and we're all in different places in terms of the risk that we assume. So neighbors may want to get 3 or 4 families together and hang out, and it's okay if you're not comfortable with that. Don't feel pressured. Sometimes our stress and anxiety is increased when we stay in that indecision place where we don't know what to do, so we just let the days go by and we don't make a decision, and that can be actually more stressful than just making a decision, going with your gut, saying, you know what, I'm just not comfortable. I'm gonna say no, and instead we are gonna have a nice dinner and watch a movie. And that's all okay, but I just want to remind everybody that you have a right to say no, and if things are stressing you out, or if it's not in your personal best interest, then say no, thank you. And if you do that in a timely way, it's easier than getting to the point where you're supposed to show up at 5 tonight and you feel like you're backing out or letting them down, or they've already made the food. So my suggestion is make your decisions early, and even if it's not what other people want to hear, if you say it early and you say it nicely and politely, no thank you, then that will work for you. Last but not least, don't abandon healthy habits. This is an important time for us to be kind to ourselves and to check in with ourselves, as I started this list with, and to really be conscious of what we're eating and if we're sleeping, and try to make those priorities. We need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of the people around us. Get outside each day despite the weather, even if it's for 15-20 minutes. Go for a walk, put the kids' boots on and walk in the rain. Exercise. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it can just be a walk. But we know that is good for our health and our mental health. And last but not least, get professional help if you need to. If you're feeling hopeless, if you're overwhelmed, if you're not feeling like you're going to be able to get through these next holidays because you're so distraught or you're so full of despair, if you're having very negative, disturbing thoughts, then it's time to call your primary care doctor, or to call and get mental health support if you have that. And lastly, there are 24-hour hotlines that you can call. If you Google crisis, suicide hotlines, crisis hotlines, there are people that are trained to stay on the phone with you and talk. And whether or not you need to go further than that, it can just be a little bit of a reset, and it can be someone that listens. So on behalf of the Safe Community Coalition, I want to thank you for watching this video, and happy holidays to all of you. Thank you.